Hey, everybody. It's Carmela from Carmela's Rasslin Radio Relived. I'm here with my beautiful partner, Jeannie. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm good. Hi, Carm. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you. I love seeing you
Yes.
all the time.
I know. Me too.
Yeah, well, we see each other like outside of
Yeah.
podcasting too, of course. Okay, we have a huge, and I'm talking about a huge show tonight. I'm sure you
so
have all
excited.
seen the advertisements. We're going to have a huge announcement tonight, but we're going to do a few other things first. We're going to have a few announcements. Number one, we're going to talk about, again, the date is May 3rd of 2025. You need to make sure you have that day available. You need to
Yes.
make sure that you are aware that Joel, Jeannie, and I will be there for that event. You also need to make sure that you sign the petition for the banner. This
Yes.
is very important. We are close, if I'm not mistaken, we're close to 600. Okay. We need to get 1,000 signatures so that we can hang the banner up at the 2300 arena. Okay. Now, the people that are on, Jeannie, you can pick up from there, the people that are on the banner and what it's for.
The 5 people are Mr. Joel Goodhart, and Mr. Tony the Hitman Stetson, the late Larry Winters, the legendary DC Drake, and Hot Body. Oh my God, Hot Body. Yes.
Johnny Hotbot.
Johnny Hot Body. Oh
There
my
you
God.
go. See,
Sorry,
not just me.
Alzheimer's kicked in for a second.
Well, now you're making me feel good, okay? Because I do it all the time.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And all of them are they've earned this banner. They deserve this banner.
Yes, they do. They really do. Personally, I think my name should be on it too, but we're going to do a separate Carmela banner, okay?
There you go. There you go.
No, but anyway, seriously, we have, we have a really, really, really good show. I am going to make another announcement before we bring our guest. And I say guest, we have 2 guests today. Before we have our guests on, there's going to be a time really, really soon. Okay, I don't know if any of you have seen the documentary, or as Paul would say, documentary on Netflix, okay, called Mr. McMahon. We're going to have a podcast about that too. Not sure exactly when. I know everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody's doing their podcast. We're not going to jump on the bandwagon. I need to do some research. But the one thing that I have that they don't have is I was there. Okay. I was there. I was a part of wrestling for 60 years. I was there. So you are going to get the real information on this podcast. So keep listening because it's going to happen. Okay. Anything else, Jeannie?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. So we have 2 guests. Like I said, we're going to bring one guest on now and let him talk for a little while. And we're going to interview him because when we bring on our other guest, this other poor guest has no hope. Between me and the other guy, there's no hope of talking. So I'm telling you, Jeannie, right now, you don't jump in, it's not happening, okay?
Yeah.
So you need to jump in whenever you want. But anyway, this man is a amazing wrestler, okay?
Yes.
He's been doing it for years. And he is the epitome of what a professional wrestler should be. And he is one of the gentlemen that will be on the banner. Yes. So we are very, very honored to have with us today Tony Hitman Stetson.
Hey, Carmela. Hey, Jeannie. Boy, that was a big build-up, Carmela. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was all true, honey.
Everything was true that she said.
I appreciate
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just turned 30.
Hey, I'm 25, so you're older than me. So,
I hear you.
21. 21 here.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I'm the oldest person in the room. Isn't that terrible? Yeah. I hate it, but it's okay. It's okay.
That's all right. Hey,
you know why? Because I lived a good life, and thank God right now I remember most of it.
All about memories.
Yep, exactly. Beautiful memories. So tell us a little bit about you as a wrestler. What made you become a wrestler? How did you break into the business? Who helped you?
Okay, so I first got hooked on wrestling back in the 60s. My dad used to take me and my brothers and my grandfather to the Philadelphia Arena, 45th and Market, which was an iconic place. And I probably was 6 and 7 when I was going. and I was just amazed by it. And I always wanted to do it, but when I graduated high school, there were no schools. There was no way unless you had an in the business. There was no way of getting in. I mean, other people broke in before me. Like, for instance, Larry, rest in peace. I know he was wrestling a few years before me.
Mm-hmm.
And even Mike Kalua, Tom Brandy. But I had no idea how to get in the business. And, like every other fan, you always get the wrestling magazines. And I saw an advertisement for the Monster Factory. So I figured, hey, you know what? Let me take a shot. I go. So I wrote a letter. It was Larry Sharp's, was running the school. And he invited me up for a tryout. Now, at the time, I was in good shape. I was only like 185 pounds. And I didn't know what the business really was about. Is it legit? Is it not legit? I was dumb to the whole business. It ain't like today. All these kids think they know everything because everything's out there.
Right.
So I find this broken down airport hangar in Hainesport Township. I knock on the door. This monster of a man opens the door, Mike Moore. I don't know if you
Okay.
remember, he was Man Mountain Moore with
Yep.
the NWF that DC Drake ran. He opened, what do you want, kid? And it's like, oh, he's like 6'8", 350. I said, I'm here for a tryout. You sure you want to do that? So I think, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll come. So I come in. Next one I meet is Bam Bam Bigelow. So
Oh my God.
you got these two monsters of guys, and you got this little squirt that's out of South Philly. So then Larry shows up. I mean, you got to sign a waiver so you don't break your neck. He ain't liable. So I started training there. And the first 2 weeks, this is without touching anybody. I was so beat up from the ring, the ropes, and all that. But I was hooked. So I was stuck to it. I would go 4 nights a week, train for 2-3 hours every night. And my actual trainer was Bigelow. He taught me everything. He broke me in the old school way, the hard school way. So which helped me when Joel did his thing. Like this is how I used to work. So it was cool. So my first match came 3 months after I was in the school. It was time for Scotty. McMahon wanted to take a look at Scotty. So we all went up. So Larry Sharp says, go up there with Scotty, pack your stuff. He says, keep your mouth shut and your ears open, and that you'll get to see what a locker room is. So as we're riding up, Scotty turns to me, says, Tony, says, when they ask me who I want to work with, I'm going to say you. Now, at the time, I was trying to be a blonde, but my hair was Ronald McDonald orange. So, and it was a mess. It was like like a big woman's wig. So anyway, we got up there. So I'm sitting there. Actually was sitting next to Don Morocco, who's just a phenomenal guy. He's just an amazing guy. So he was giving me a little dirt about the business and, how this one gets this and how that one gets that. So now we're sitting there. So it's TV tapings. So they last all night. So now it's time for Scotty's match. So they bring him up to the sheet and they said, okay, so you're going to be on a dark match. Who do you want to work with? He said, I want to work with Tony. They looked at me. He said, you want to work with that? So I wasn't a him. I was a that. So they said, all right, you want to ruin it. That's your, it's just your opportunity. So now the one good thing was I wasn't nervous because it was like, I trained with Scotty for 3 months straight, 4 nights a week. I didn't expect to see what I saw when they opened the door. So there's a good couple thousand people in there. Now I'm like, wow, what am I doing here? As I'm walking to the ring, they're torturing me about my hair, and it's like, oh boy, wow, this wasn't too smart. So I get in the ring. So now here comes Scotty. He didn't have his head fully shaved, tattooed yet. So now they're busting on him. So as he gets in the ring, I look at him. He looks at me. He smirks, and I had to cover my face because I started laughing because I'm thinking, wow, this is a joke. But my first few times in the ring, it was like I was in a bubble. I couldn't see the people. It was like I saw the ring ropes, and then everything seemed like a big cloud. Mm-hmm. So we go have our match. I knew what I had to do. And it was easy to make him look great because he was just an incredible worker. And then when I came back down, Then they says, "Oh, that was great." Then they started working me with the Heart Foundation, Randy Savage, Beefcake Valentine, Hercules, Tiger Chung Lee, all these guys. So I know you had to pay your dues back in the day. Paying your dues with WWF TV is don't throw a punch. Don't try to do anything. If they don't tell you, you don't do it.
Mhm.
So I did a couple matches that night. Then we will come back like every 3 weeks to do more TV. The second time I went back, and this leads into a funny story that I still get ridiculed today. No matter what I did, no matter how many times I bled and did hardcore stuff, everybody remembers me for one match. So I had to work with Randy Savage. So he comes up to me and says, "Hey, how many matches you had?" I said, 3. He went, "Oh." He said, "Just follow me out there. Just don't do nothing. Just follow me." So we go out there and we're all over the place. He's throwing me in, throwing me out. He winds up hitting me with 2 elbows. And, we come back. He says, "That was great." He said, "If I ever get to work with you again, I'll give you something in the match." Month goes by, I work with some other guys. And now it's time for me to work with Randy again. So he comes up to me and says, "Listen, I'll get with you before we go out. I'm going to give you a couple spots so you don't look dead out there." He says, "I like the way you work. You listen the whole bit." So I'm thinking, wow, it's cool. I'll finally get to, after 2-3 months or whatever, to do something, show something. So now the clock's ticking. The clock's ticking. No Randy. So now they call me to go up. And it's like, wow. Now I'm green as grass. I said, well, I guess I don't know what we're going to do. Next thing I see, there was this big table. I see somebody put a bouquet of flowers down on the table. That's when George Steele was, had the crush on Elizabeth.
Oh no.
Randy comes up to me and says, "I hate to tell you, we got to make it short." I said, "How short is short?" No, we got to make it fast or something like that. "Jump you, clothesline you, power slam you, elbow, and I'll dump you." All right, what am I? Hey, that's paying my dues. So he comes in. He he takes off his robe. He jumps to me right away, shoots me, clotheslines me right in the mouth. My lip splits open from this side to this side because I'm short.
Oh wow.
So now I know, okay, I take the bump. Now it's time for the power slam. So I start to get up to feed him. Next thing I'm on my hands and knees. Next thing I feel is the elbow across the back. Boom, boom.
Oh.
He winds up pinning me in 11 seconds with his sunglasses.
Oh my
Whenever I
God.
meet somebody and a friend of mine's with me, they'll say, "Oh, he wrestled Randy Savage. Here, let me pull it up because it's on YouTube. I don't know who put it up, but it ain't never coming down." It was ridiculous.
God.
So anyway, it was. It wound up turning out to be the last time I worked there. Not because of that. The way it worked was Larry Sharp would tell us, like every 3 weeks, "Okay, you guys go up again." It would be me, Jeff Gripley, and a few other guys. Well, always me and Jeff, and then whoever. And so we appreciated the opportunity, but at the same time, we were working for Rick Martel and Dino Bravo up in Montreal. So it usually would be we would go up to Montreal on a Saturday, do TV for them, then come back on the way back, go to Poughkeepsie. So now we're in the school one night, and Larry, on a rare occasion, was there. So Jeff says to me, "What time you picking me up tomorrow?" I said, "We'll meet here about 10:30. Larry said, "Where you going?" "We're going to go do TV." Here, as I was going, some of the guys started to take a liking to me, and especially Jay Strongbow. He would tell me when to come up. So now what that did was that cut Larry out of his percentage. So he didn't like that. So, and we're green. He said, "Listen, guys, you know what? Don't go do that no more. They're only embarrassing you, making a fool of you." But we were paying our dues, and then we stopped. Then, after like a year, these 2 guys that they were sent back in the day, there wasn't videos like it was today. They got booked down in Puerto Rico, and they were good workers. And when they came back, I think it was Victor Ganonis was the booker. He said to Larry, "Send some more guys down." So me and Jeff went down, and this is when I had real good blonde hair. So actually, at the time, Eric Emery was like a big heel down there, and we were almost like identical. We could have passed for twins. So we go down there, and I'm looking at the sheet and I don't see my name. And I'm thinking, why did they fly me down here and I'm not working? So I say to Victor, I says, am I not booked? No, you're right here. I became Ray Bass. So for that first TV taping down there, I was Ray Bass. So now I had to work with Jose Estrada. He was the super medic. And then I would work with Sweet Brown Sugar. The thing that was cool about Puerto Rico, the heels are on one side of the building, the faces are on the other. So now I'm a heel. So now I'm thinking, well, nobody's telling me what I can or can't do. So when I'm out there, I'm just going to take a shot, call something, and see what happens. So I'm working with Estrada, and I take him to the rope, and I just call. I'm getting ready to shoot him off the rope. Am I telling too much of the inside of the business?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
There's no kayfabe here. There's no kayfabe. You do
it does get more serious and realistic down the road. So I shoot him off, and I call flying clothesline. Now it's either he's going to take it or he's going to whoop my ass. So as he's coming off, I hit him with it. I'm thinking, wow, he let me do this. So now I'm starting to work him over until it's time to go home, and I put him over. So when we come back, now I got to go back out with Sweet Brown Sugar like in less than a half an hour. Like I said, we don't know anything. The ref will just tell us to finish. So I go in the ring, and I thought, I'm there with the ref. Sweet Brown Sugar's in there. I says, let me try this again. I tell the ref, I says, tell him I'm going to jump him. So he went to whisper, and he just nodded. Same thing. Got all my heat. And it went great. I put him over. As soon as I came back down, this is how green I was. Even though I was getting more knowledgeable, but I was still green. Victor Ganonis comes up to me, says, you got a full-time job? I said, yeah. He said, can you take off for 6 months? I want to bring you down here and work 7 days a week.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Being stupid, I said, okay, here's Larry's number. Go through him. Well, at the time Larry got the call, he never told me because he was getting ready to take Bigelow down to Memphis to work with Jerry Lawler, and he needed me to run the Monster Factory. So I lost that opportunity.
Oh, my God.
Then,
are you serious?
Yeah, that was wicked. Where did I go after that? So then back in the day, then there was promoters running good shows, but it was hard to get on them because, it ain't like now on any Saturday night in Jersey, you could probably get 6 or 7 independent shows running, and everybody's a wrestler. And when they should be riding a skateboard was about 130 pounds, which I never got. And then after that, I start doing things for. I wrestled an old friend of yours up in Connecticut. Was a little shorter than me, Carmela.
Ivan?
I think.
Ivan Putski?
Yes. So I go up to Connecticut.
Baby.
I meet Ivan. Ivan was so cool. So we're getting ready. So we talk. He says, all right, now you can't hurt me because I'm so strong and big. And I'm thinking, oh, boy. So he says, just do this, get your heat. I'll sell the throat, I'll sell the eyes. And, we did it all, and it was cool. Then after that, I think that's probably when I first met Kahlua and Brandy because they were up there. I think they were pushing them big up there. So that was cool. But like, I was in awe because how these guys, because they just did a 3-shot weekend. But they just brought me in for TV, and I said that'd be so cool to do 3 shows over the course of a weekend. After that, then Larry Sharp started running shows. I started working with him. He always used me the right way, and then we were doing. There was this guy that I can't remember the promoter. He was trying to book some guys out of Monster Factory for California, so he was looking at me, Randy Lewis, and some other guy. So we're going through the motions. Now, back in the day when I was teaching, I literally would be in the ring for almost 4 hours because that kept me in shape. I would train all the new people. I worked matches. So now me and Randy are going through our spots. He monkey flips me out of the corner, but he was so friggin' jacked up on the juice. He's put me up so high. When I landed, I tore my middle meniscus.
Ooh.
And I knew right away it was torn because years ago I tore my other one from playing semi-pro football. So I says, wow, there goes my California thing. After that, my first match was in Valley Forge when I met you and Joel.
Oh my God, are you
Remember when
serious?
Steve King didn't show up? He couldn't make it.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes,
Brody
I
and
do.
Abdul were on the top, and then I don't know. I'm sure Larry was on that show. I would think.
Yeah, I think he
But
was.
that was the first time I met you guys,
Wow.
and that was like 86-ish, because I was still blonde at the time.
Yes, unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's
Then
awesome.
and then I started working for Don, that did the NWF. So when I
Mhm.
started working for him, I was blonde for a while, and then I thought this gimmick ain't working. It's just not for me. So Don would use me and Jeff and Larry and Eddie Miranda were the Beach Boys, and that's when I first met Don and all those guys. And we were getting ready to do another TV taping for Don. I think they used it in Bricktown, down is some ice hockey rink. The night before, I said to my first wife, who's now my third, and that's it. Third time's the charm.
That's the third time's the charm.
And she was a hairdresser. I says, listen, dye my hair black. And I don't know why I didn't tell her to just buzz it, because that's what it ultimately did. I went to the barbershop the next morning. I buzzed it. So I had like a crew cut, but I had a big black goatee and I had like a good biker look. So when I show up at the show, Don says, oh, listen, he says, I love the way you wrestle. He says, we're going to tag you to Hitman. I didn't pick that name. Don gave it to me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was Don. And then the first one I worked with was Schultz, Dr. D, David Schultz.
Oh, I love
So
him.
Don said,
oh my God.
David, he's a good guy. Go easy. He was so easy to work with. It was just great. So as that happened, that's when I started taking on that different role. And then I would work a lot of shows for Don. And then after that, well, after I worked with you guys in Valley Forge, I think Joel started the TWA in like 90, right?
Yeah, he went on his own at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I remember the first McGonigal Hall show at Temple. He brought in all these names, but he had me and Johnny on the card.
Mm.
Johnny was nervous. He was a nervous wreck. Now, me and Johnny had legitimate heat, but when it was time to wrestle, we knew that's what we needed to do so we could coexist. So Joel sees Johnny's nervous. And I remember Joel came up like it was yesterday. He says, John, I like you. You're a good guy. He says, this will be the last show you work for me. He says, I can't, I don't have no trust in you that you can go out there and do what you got to do. So Johnny's like, I said, John, listen, just follow me. I pulled a Randy Savage on him. I said, just follow me. We go out there and I literally beat the hell out of him. But at that point going out, it was supposed to be his last show ever, because they set up an angle with Jules Strongbow to come out and challenge me to a return Indian Strat match, which I did with him years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So they do the whole angle. And people flooded Rasslin Radio that next Saturday and demanded that me and Johnny wrestle again, because it was so over the top. Because I think it was that show. Yeah, I don't think it was the next one we did was the First Blood. I think that first show, Frank Talent, you got to love Frank Talent.
Oh,
Frank Talent was standing at ringside. I said to Johnny, I says, take him out. And I whipped him. And he clotheslined Frank. Frank got up with the biggest smile, like a kid coming down at Christmas, seeing all his toys under the tree.
Oh, my God.
And ever since then, me and Johnny were like joined at the hip.
That's crazy.
As we did all our stuff for Joel. And the craziest thing was people started dogging us for what we were doing. The biggest one that dogged us, God rest his soul, was Ted Petty. Now, you know what Teddy turned into, Rocco Rock. Mm-hmm. He would come up to me and says, Tone, stop this nonsense. Just wrestle. Nobody wants to see this. But we knew this was how we were making our name, from doing this crazy stuff.
Right.
And we were so convincing, and people knew that these guys don't like each other, because you could be 2 feet away from us and you would hear every punch and every this and that, because we held nothing back. Because I told them, I says, listen, if we're going to run with this, we got our issues, but when we go out there, we're laying everything in. There's no,
Wow.
these guys that do the patty cake stuff and smack this and smack that. That was
Yeah,
never.
yeah.
And after that, we ran with Joel for the longest time. Then, what happened folded. Then, Todd had his own ideas about me and Johnny. And Todd actually wanted to get away from hardcore wrestling. So, but yet the first ECW show was me and Ivan Koloff that he let me pin him clean in the middle of the ring. So we would come back and do a Russian chain match, which was obviously bloody. So then that started the whole bloody stuff. But he tried to separate me and Johnny. Then he ran this wild feud with me and Sal Balomo. And Stevie Wonderful was his manager. And me and Sal was just an amazing guy. Another guy, rest in peace. And we would do so much crazy stuff. Every time we came back, Todd threatened to fire us because we were doing like the Chestnut Cabaret. We were breaking everything. But that's what the people wanted. Then after that, we stayed with ECW. Then me and Larry actually were ECW tag champs. We beat the Super Destroyers. And then I think the next night, we lost the titles. Larry got pinned. So I held a little grudge against Larry. So they wind up doing this thing where we did this battle royal at the arena where I turned on Larry because he dumped me, Candido, and Hot Body out at the same time. So I turned on them. We did our little sequence of stuff and all that. Then after that, then I did a short program with Tommy Cairo. He was the first Pennsylvania state champion. So I beat him for that belt. Then we did a return match, but then they squashed the thing. But at that show, they announced we're bringing back the hardest hitting hardcore tag team of all time. And they put me and Johnny together. Now, this was a recipe for disaster. We really had to coexist because we were working together. So we had the straps and we did this and we did that. And they never gave us a set direction. Like, okay, this is, we want you to be right from the street. It's both South Philly guys, do this, do that. It's just here's the straps. Just go with it. So one of the November to Remember shows, we had just beat the Rotten Brothers, and then Tom Brandy and Tommy Dreamer came out and quick beat us like in 10 seconds, like a surprise match thing. I know I'm jumping all over the place because I got too much.
It's okay. It's okay.
But here's the thing. Before Paulie took over the book, when Eddie Gilbert was there, a lot of guys had issues with Eddie. Eddie is, aside from Joel, whatever Joel told me he was going to do with me, he did. Eddie was the only other guy who, whatever he said to me, he did. He says, Tone, this is what we're going to do. And back then, I was just on the tail end. I think I just came out of my second marriage. No, wait. That came out of the first marriage. So I was in great shape. He said, you got yourself in great shape. We're going to do this, that, and the other. And he did it until that thing fell apart. When Paulie came in, he came up to me and Johnny, pulled us together. He says, listen, as long as I have a job here, as long as I'm working here, you two will always have a job because it's what you guys started that's taking us the direction where we want to go. Sounded good, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So they put us in the tag, and then Paulie says, there's going to come a time I'm going to split you guys up. You're going to do your feud, this, that, and the other. And that's what we were doing. Each week we do TV, and I pissed Johnny off. Johnny pissed me off. Blah blah blah. Johnny was getting tired of that. Johnny winds up quitting. I get a call from Todd. We were getting ready to do two shows, a Saturday and Sunday show. He says, Johnny quit, so you're out too. I said, what do you mean I'm out?
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, that's just the way it is. So now I sat out for 6 months and I was pissed off.
I bet.
In the meantime, I contacted Dino Sana. He does all these small towns, Oryxburg, Chambersburg, but he would always draw great. I said, Dino, me and this guy, he knew about me and Johnny. I says, how about we come work for you? I says, but we do crazy stuff and we're always bleeding. No, yeah, come. We started working for Dino. Every match would be a bloodbath because that's what Dino liked. And he gave us free reign. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. It got to the point where we were doing these. He would run the same towns like every month or every 6 weeks. So I forget what 2 towns. We did a Friday and Saturday night show that me and John, it was like one of these, you got to stop it because it's out of control. So they gave me the mic and Dino was out there and I just whispered cage and he just nodded. So now they booked us for that the next month, Friday night in the cage. And then we did the same thing on the angle the next night where we did that again. At the time, Bruno Sammartino was the color commentator. So the first night.
Excuse me, are they coming to get you?
You hear that? No, a fire truck just went down my street.
Oh, I thought they were going to get Tony.
Why would you think it's me? Because I'm just going all over the place.
You know?
So we go out the first night and we just tear into each other in the cage. We worked our asses off and we just kept going and going and going. We come back. Dino comes up to us. He says, like I said, we can coexist because now we're working together, even though we're not tagging, but we need to get along so we can continue to beat each other up. He says, listen, he says, that match was awesome. Bruno says, don't work so hard tomorrow night. He says, you don't have to do that much. He says, the people are into it. The next night we go out, we toned it down just a tad. So we're in the back. Bruno comes back. He says, guys, I have to tell you this. He says, I pretty much created the cage match. That was the greatest cage match I ever seen in my life. It's a shame it wasn't in Madison Square Garden instead of here.
Wow.
Now, compliment from a guy who was a 6-year-old kid who like idolized this guy.
Wow.
And getting back to when in the 60s, there were 2 wrestlers that scared me when I was a kid, Toru Tanaka and Ivan Koloff. Talk about destiny. The fact that the first ECW was me and Ivan was one of the nicest, kindest. He's a pure gentleman.
He was. He definitely was.
But yet, as a kid,
further. I got to interrupt you, and I'm always getting yelled at for interrupting people. But I got to ask you a couple questions. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is it's like intriguing me, and if I don't ask you, I'm going to forget. All right. Now, I just wanted to have you talk a little bit more about what it was like to like just go in the ring and do this as you go along. Like today, these wrestlers today, they rehearse, they practice, they go to same match every single day. For like WrestleMania, they're there for 4 or 5 days practicing.
It's like match, it's ballet, it's choreography.
Exactly. But when you guys wrestled,
this is how it was back in the day. Here's our start. Here's our finish.
Exactly.
Anything special? Yeah. Talk to you out there. That's it. Because doing that, when you go out and you have to listen to the people in the crowd. If they're into it, you know you're doing something good. If you hear nothing, you know you got to step it up. And that's when we were just go out the ring, and that was it. And I always listen to it. The people, they're going to tell you what they want.
Right.
We've
had other wrestlers like Davey O'Hannon and
my God, Davey O'Hannon.
Yeah, Manny.
I love him to death.
Yeah, I love him too.
I mean, this one summer he had me down Wildwood every month. Well, a couple summers. Davey was incredible. I love Davey. That's when I really start building up my name.
Yep.
Davey was amazing.
Well, he told us when he was on the show. He told us. He said, when we were little, we were younger. He said, you went in the ring and you did what you did when you got there. There was no we're going to throw me 3 times. You're going to do this. You're going to bend over. You're going to stand up.
No.
I was just talking to Joel about the AEW today, and as much as and I love Will Ospreay. I'll say this every show, but like he was saying, everything is too soft. Everything is too you know exactly what they're going to do. They are just it's just practice after practice after practice. But listening to you and what you guys did years ago, you just walk in there and you're like, oh, well,
we do it. And the thing was, back then, you protected the business. You don't
Exactly.
talk about it. You go with it. It is what it is. Now the business is so exposed. When you look at these they're phenomenal athletes. They must have extensive gymnastic backgrounds.
Yes.
Well, that wasn't what we did. We did it the tough way. You get your ass handed to you. That's just the way it is. That's how you paid your dues. Now it's so different to watch. I don't watch nothing. I can't watch.
It's funny. Everybody says that. Everybody that's been on this show says it.
If I see a clip, if I'm scrolling on Facebook and I see a clip, it's like, dude, these people. First of all, the stupidest thing is when there's one guy or two guys standing outside the ring and wait for the guy to get on his thing on the top row. Just watch him flip, and you're just standing there waiting.
And you see them going like this to hold the guy.
I'll catch you.
Yeah.
Throw the baby out the window. I'll catch him.
Yeah, and then we're going to roll. We're going to catch them and roll. That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's not me.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. You don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. Would you be willing to share what the heat was with you and Johnny?
I think the thing with me and Johnny is both coming up from. We actually grew up maybe 8 blocks away from each other. Johnny's a little younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
When we used to train at the same gym at one time. Johnny came up to me. When I first met him, I liked Johnny. It's kind of like, I'll never use the word hate. Hate's an ugly word when you talk about a person. Mm-hmm. I could say I hate Brussels sprouts. I hate certain foods, but we had a dislike.
Okay.
He said he wanted to get into business, and I think I actually took him to the Monster Factory. Mm-hmm. I would help out whoever I could. And he started training. At first, Larry Sharp says, "No, you're not cut out for this. You're too short." Well, Larry, I'm short too. I maybe had a quarter of an inch on John. Mm-hmm. So once he started working, he had this big chip on his shoulder and had an attitude. And the whole time, from the moment I stepped into the wrestling till then, I never had a chip on my shoulder. I did something I really enjoyed. I am better than no one, but Johnny had this attitude. He's better than everybody. He was cocky. He was just obnoxious. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, John, you're just, I don't curse no more, but at the time I used some good words. And a lot of guys didn't care for him because he would just have this walk around like he was like 10 foot, 800 pound monster. But he had that bad attitude. Mm-hmm. And there were times it came close to me really, really, really hurting him. And I remember one show, Mike Bruno, who was my partner. Thank you, Joel, if you can hear it. Mike was a piece of work. I don't say this in an arrogant way or cocky, because that's not me. I literally had to carry Mike every match because Mike was so scared of everything.
I believe it.
He'd be pacing up and down. I said, Mike, chill out, will you? Relax. There was one night Mike was working with Glenn Osborne. Glenn Osborne threw a fireball at Mike, and it actually caught him. So now I'm at ringside with Mike because we're partners. So as I go, next thing I feel this thing, bam, right back here in the back of my head. Mm-hmm. I went like this. I felt this lump just pop up. Here it's hot body. Just hit me with a baseball bat.
Oh, my God.
So now he's in the ring. So now I'm going after him. So as I'm getting through the ring, getting through the ropes, hi, my beautiful wife just walked in.
Oh, let her come over and say hi. Where is she?
Say hi. Oh, she's shy.
Oh, well, tell her we said hi.
Tell her hi.
She said hi. She said
I can see her little hand waving.
Yeah, her hand's darker than mine, though.
Oh, that's all right. We can still see it.
So as I'm getting in the ring, somehow Johnny smashed the bat against the mat, and it was a legit wooden bat. and it broke. Now, as I'm coming up, I see him taking a swipe at me to my head, to my face. I just happened to turn my face like that, and he gashed me from here to here with the bat.
Oh my God.
So now I'm still a little goofy from the bat in the head.
Hmm.
So they wind up having to carry me out because he just kept going and going and going. We were the main event that night. We were doing a pins anywhere in the building or typical street fight thing. And we're down in the locker room. I didn't go up to him and say anything. I didn't curse him out. I didn't do nothing. Didn't want to look at him. Didn't want to see him. I said, DC, I says, Don, can I borrow your chain? He said, why? I said, just let me use it. I'll give it right back to you. When I attacked him and beat him so bad that people literally said afterwards, you had the devil in your eyes. Says you were possessed. And I was just wailing. We moved past it, but that's how we worked. So many guys were afraid, like if they had to work with us, because they would see what me and Johnny did to each other. But I wasn't like that with everybody.
No.
Like, I would tone it down. But me and Johnny just had this heat that just never died.
It's crazy
over the years,
I know you, and listening to everything you're saying, I'm amazed because I don't know that Tony Stetson. You know what I mean?
I was that night in the ring. I was just, I was a different person.
That is crazy.
And me and Johnny did so many things. We actually got working one of Dino's shows in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. We got blackballed from the police. The police. They said if we ever step foot in Chambersburg again, they're locking us up. What happened was because we went out there and we were so out of control.
Oh my God.
And we were all over the building and we were bleeding like pigs. And as I'm bringing them back towards the corner of the building, I set them on a table and I look over and there's one of the big fire extinguishers. So now I pick it up and I feel this on my shoulder. Put it down. And I look. When you're out there, you're in the zone.
Yeah.
Especially with Johnny, I'm not the same person after. Security guard says, I said, listen, you don't take your effing hands off of me, I'm going to crack you in the head with this. And I'm not joking. I'm not playing. So he backed off. So we continue. They wind up saying that's it. It was so out of control that they just called it, no contest. Going to back. Johnny's sitting away in the distance from me, and I'm sitting there, and Dino comes back. I said, Dino, how was it? Oh, man, that was great. I loved it. Here comes the cops. He says to Dino, you guys put on a great show. See them two? They ever step foot in Chambersburg again, they're going to lock right up.
Wow.
That's how violent we used to get.
Wow.
And that's, I'm not exaggerating. Any story I ever tell, whatever it is, I don't exaggerate.
No,
and
it's
stupid and crazy things.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did a lot of stupid and crazy things, but I'm not going to fabricate a story just to make it sound good.
No, exactly. But you know what I wanted to say? Now that you're saying that, I was just going to jump in and say, when I have my next show, I want you to wrestle for me.
You know what? If it's a little bit of ways in the distance, I always can get back in shape. I got 2 new wheels. I got 2 new knees back in 2020.
I do too. I have 2 new knees. I have a new shoulder. I have a new spine.
I have 2 new knees. I got double vision because from getting hit in chairs, I had to stop riding my motorcycle. I obviously got brain damage. I got tears in both shoulders. 5 in here. I had 5 here fixed in 2002, and I retoured again a couple months ago. So I don't know how many are torn now. I got I got a lot of issues. I can't turn my head all the way, but I'm always ready to get back in the ring.
Hey, good for you. Now this is going to lead me into another question. Now you have obviously more stories. Now understand something. This podcast is predominantly based on stories. This is what we promote it as, because we want the fans to know what real wrestling was like. Okay, which is what you have shown us, incredible amounts of stories, and I know you have more. So first of all, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you if you'd be willing to come back another time.
Absolutely, 100%.
More. Okay. Yeah. The other we want to talk about now, if you don't mind, is the banner. Okay.
Oh,
You and Johnny Hotbody and the late Larry Winters and DC Drake and Joel Goodhart are up for this banner. And thanks to all the podcasters that have been out there, including our podcast, Bay Ragney, a whole bunch of people, we are up to now, I think, close to 600 signatures. We
wow.
only need 400 more.
Uh-huh.
Now, we want to get this. Well, I'm saying Joel wants to get this banner. Actually, Bay wants to do it for Joel.
Yeah, Bay really kicked it off.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I was wrong on that one. But we want to help. We want to help get it raised. We want to be there when the 1,000 signatures come in. How do you feel about this? Because you're definitely being honored, and you definitely deserve it, Tony. Definitely.
Yeah, if this ever happens, if it's meant to be, it will be. It would literally bring me to tears because of what me and Johnny, Larry, and DC did. Because of Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Joel gave us free reign. Mm-hmm. That's DC and Larry were definitely in the business before us. Mm-hmm. And me and Johnny made our names off of Joel. And that's people will book us just from what they heard and what they saw. That would be such an honor. And see, I'm getting teary now.
I know.
When I don't mean this in a cocky way or an arrogant way. We deserve it.
You do deserve it.
You do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know what?
1,000%.
You know who found that building? You know who found the building?
No.
Johnny Hotbody.
Did he really?
He was friends with the owner of the building. He went to him. He says,
wow.
Hey, because we were looking for a building because they did the Mike Smith's Sports Bar, which I love wrestling in there. That was crazy. And then Chester Cabaret. And then we went to Cabrini College, but we needed like a home base. And Johnny found the building.
Wow. Well, you know what we're going to do is we're going to say it again because we have made this very clear in our past podcast that I'm going to say it started with Rasslin Radio because when Joel and my ex-husband and I were together, okay, in Rasslin Radio, we did everything together. And Rasslin Radio, I think, spawned a Squared Circle, Saroma Promotions, spawned everything that came after that, okay? Mm-hmm. If there was no Rasslin Radio, there would be no podcast today. There would be no Joel Goodhart. There would be no Paul Panfil. None of that would be okay. 100%. But when Joel went on his own, he went and he took what he had and he ran with it. Okay.
Yes, he did.
And we have said many times that the Attitude Era, hardcore wrestling, all that stuff started there. It started in the 80s,
yes.
and that's it. But the problem is that the recognition is not there, which is why we keep promoting it. Yeah. And I have a reputation for never keeping my mouth shut, so I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to keep repeating it. But what we'd like to do now, if you don't mind, we have our second guest. We had, like I said, I'm absolutely in awe of your interview. It's amazing.
Yes.
And I love it.
100%.
100%. I want you back.
Wait,
100%.
first, wait a minute. Hold on. I do have one story I want to get in.
Go for it.
With Tony, when Mike Bruno took over the TWA and ECWA and everything, I remember you wrestled for them, and I used to go to the shows. Yeah. And there was one match where you had with JJ the Crew Guy.
Oh yeah.
And do you remember what you asked me to bring to the show?
A pair of pliers.
And I did.
But
they were smaller than what he
smaller, but they were pointy.
Yeah.
They were pointy pliers.
What did you ask for them for?
To clamp his
zipper area.
Okay. I got you.
And you know what's funny? That me and JJ had chemistry.
Yeah.
They would never book us again.
Why?
That was insane. I don't understand that.
We were too. It was almost like we were starting a Stetson Hotbody feud with me and JJ. And,
well, JJ went off and started his own little indie promotion.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I always liked JJ, but he had that old school mentality too. You know, we don't need to talk before we go out there. I'll see you out there.
Exactly. I love that old school mentality. And like I said, every time I talk to, like, I send Davey Johannan some of these, when we're done, and like he loves what we do. And like what's his name? Manny Fernandez honored us by saying when he came on the show and he did the podcast, and he said I let him listen to one before he actually came on, and he said, so as soon as I heard it, he goes, I know this is legit. And he said it was different than other podcasts because we let everybody talk and let everybody. Yep. Okay, so now we got to bring on this other person. I would love to talk to you for another 3 hours, but he's waiting, and he always
I'm sure
gives crap.
Whoever it is got a lot to say. I bet.
I know he always has a lot to say, but like I said, if you want to say anything, just jump in, Tony, because he doesn't.
Yeah, good luck with that. Between you and him getting a word in, me and Jeannie are like mute. Nobody's going to listen to us now.
We told Jeannie, and I'm going to tell you the same thing. Just jump right in, because if you
Joe called me. Yeah, Joe called me this week, and he's like, if you don't jump in and start talking, he's like, you're out. You're out. I'm done with it. And I'm like, okay.
Hey, listen, before you bring him on, I got to say this. I'm going to throw Carmela under the bus to you, Jeannie. The other night, I'm talking to her on the phone. I actually had a fight to get words in.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this woman don't shut up. He just goes on and on and on. I'm thinking,
you sound like Joel.
Can I say anything?
And you know what he said to me, Jeannie? I'm talking to him on the phone. He called me. I was like after work. I was out. I was running errands, blah, blah, blah. And I was tired. And I said to him, oh, hi, Tony. I said, I'm just wanting to let you know what we're doing for the podcast. And he goes to me, excuse me. I said, hi, how are you?
Yeah. Like, how rude was that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry again. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
When I start talking, you talk about getting in the zone. When I start talking podcast, man, I am out.
I hear you.
All right, we got to do this now. I don't want to. Right. You want to talk about having heat? Let me tell you about having heat, okay? We're going to bring him on right now, and he has got a huge announcement, and I can't wait. You ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Joel Goodhart.
I've been waiting. I'll tell you, can you do another 3 hours with Tony? I'll come on about 11 o'clock tonight.
I'm telling you, we can. We can do another 3 hours with him.
I'm telling you, it's phenomenal stuff. Great stories.
Yeah.
Great stories. But, that's what this business is all about. It just is. And it's the stories from back in the day. Because these kids today don't have the stories. They
don't know.
They just don't.
Yeah.
No.
So anyway.
But now, it's your call, buddy.
Well, let's put it this way. You've been building this up. You're making it sound really good. I'm ecstatic just by listening to your huge announcement thing, okay?
I am too. I'm so excited.
This all started, believe it or not, with Bay Ragney. You mentioned Bay before. And Bay had contacted me about this banner. And we can talk about the banner a little bit more, but it started the ball rolling. And then I thought of something. I know that Flair had his last match. And then Sting had his last match. And I'm a big ELO fan. ELO's doing their final tour. TWA never had its final show. Now, when I had a final show, I didn't realize it was the final show. So I came up with an idea, and I literally, Bay will tell you this, I came up with this idea within seconds. So the huge announcement is the TWA is back, and we're back for a show, and it's going to be on May 3rd. That was the date that you mentioned. The show is going to be called One and Done. It's going to be one show, and I'm done. I've been in this business, since the mid-'80s with you, Carmela, and on and off, and there was a lot of years where I escaped the business completely, and that's a whole nother story into itself. But on May 3rd, we're taking over the 2300 Arena. We signed the contract. It's going to be at the 2300 Arena. During the day, from 12 to 3:30, we're going to have a WrestleCon. And we're going to have everybody that you can imagine there, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then, of course, at night, we're going to have the TWA-style matches. We're coming to the 2300 Arena. One and done. Now, I have a list right here. I'm going to read off the list. Some of you are going to love some of these people. Some of you are going to hate. Tony might have his comments. These are the TWA people that are committed to being there on May 3rd. And again,
Okay.
tracking some of these people down. We got Rhode Island, we got Atlantic City, we got Nashville. So let me go down the list. This is an
Florida, don't forget Florida.
That's Florida as well. This is an alphabetical order, so it's not meant to be in any one specific order. The first name, Donnie Allen, is going to be in the house. Donnie, if you recall, was DC Drake's handler. Donnie went on to create his own stuff. So Donnie Allen is going to be in the house on May 3rd, all day. Then Bob Artiste, who you've had on, Bob Artiste, who sat ringside for most of my shows, then ring announced some of my Bar War shows, then went on to do his own thing at ECW. Bob Artiste with his wife Lex. Bob is going to be in the house. Okay?
Nice.
Another South Philly guy, Ernesto Benefica. And he's got his own following. He's been around for a long time. He lives up in the Bucks County area now. But Ernesto is going to be in the house. Breaker Morant. Breaker was in the second part of the TWA after Mike Bruno took it over. Okay. But Breaker Morant, who's now doing his retirement tour, is on for our show on May 3rd. He's in the house. Then, sorry, Tony, Michael Bruno is next. Hitman Michael Bruno, South Jersey. He's going to be in the house. Now, wait a minute. You can't have two hitmen. Wait, you can't have two hitmen. Well,
you know what? I said that for years. That's one thing I disagree, Joel. Not to cut you off, but you said I got to jump in.
That's okay.
Back then, when I don't know if me and Johnny were done our feud or whatever, Joel comes up to me. He says, "Oh, this is Mike. Can you take him in as a hitman?" I'm thinking, well, I really don't want to, but I would do anything for Joel. And then he stuck with Mike. And then the headaches began, and they never ended.
And now I got to keep these guys together and separate at the same time.
At the same time.
And trust me, they're not the only people in this list that I got to do that with. Anyway, keep going on the list. Cujo the Hellhound is going to be in the house. Now, Cujo's been around, and he was in the second part of TWA, but Cujo is committed. Now, keep in mind, as I called all these guys, none of them took more than 1 second to say they're in. Okay? They all jumped at the opportunity. The next one, DC Drake is coming down from Rhode Island.
Yes!
Okay. DC, look, let's be honest, DC and Larry Winters, the late Larry Winters, really got this whole thing started. Okay? And I know that we took on the Attitude Era. We created the Attitude. Our goal was to take the best of Memphis, the best of world class, the best of the Pacific Northwest, all the best. But you want to know something? It was the local guys that made every show.
Got that right.
Yes, we did. Yes,
Tony
we
Stetson
did.
And Johnny Hotbody and DC Drake and Larry Winters proved it show after show after show. But DC is coming down from Rhode Island. He will be in the house the whole day. The next one on the list is John Finnegan. Now, John Finnegan was our number one referee. He is still refereeing. He was obviously around for ECW. He was around before me. He's still around. He's still kicking. He's still refereeing.
Last week, a couple weeks ago. We saw him.
And he's going to be in the house. Then a name that you guys won't know, Larry Gallone, is going to be in the house. Larry Gallone is the one who printed up all of my programs for all of my shows. And he's going to be printing up the program for our show as well for May 3rd. He has a lot of creativity. He knows what he's doing. Larry Gallone is going to be in the house. All right. Sorry, Tony. Next one on the list, Johnny Hotbody.
Of course.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
And note the sad part is Johnny had open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So, and as much heat as we had, but because we had such a history, before his surgery, I went to see him.
Oh, God bless you.
Well, and then when I left, I was back to my old self.
Believe it or not,
because we created each other.
Yep.
Through him, through Joel.
You know, with Tony and Johnny, 1 and 1 equals 3. That's the way I always put those. When we put those guys together, and I said, go ahead, do it. They did it. They had a City of Brotherly Hate match, a First Blood. They had all kinds of matches. And now I got to have this show on May 3rd and keep these guys separate and together at the same time. Next one on the list, Rich Engling. Now, I don't know if you know Rich. Rich was one of my first referees. He's coming in from Florida. He's already booked his plane flight. Rich is a vice president of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And one of the things that we're going to be doing with our show is we're going to be raising money. I happen to be a lifetime member. Rich is obviously a vice president. And just as a side note, last year, Rich actually called me up because they wanted to consider me for the board. Okay. Anyway, long story short, Rich Engling is going to be in the house coming in from Florida. Awesome. The next one on the list is Jimmy Giannetti. All right. Jimmy! And
my God.
Jimmy started with Ringmasters. He's coming up from Florida. As it turns out, he has family members who live up here, and he's driving up from Florida with his dog. Okay. The dog is not coming on May 3rd, but Jimmy Giannetti is. He will be in the house. All right. Then Mike Keener, one of the referees out there. Okay. Mike is going to be there. He was in the second part of the TWA, but Mike is going to be in the house as well and will actually be refereeing that night.
Nice.
Blue Meanie. All right. So let me tell you a story. Blue Meanie never wrestled for the TWA until the second part of the TWA. But Blue Meanie was one of the original members of the Squared Circle fan club.
Yes, he was.
Went to Memphis a couple of times with us. Okay, so Brian has been around forever. And Blue Meanie, when I called him up, again, he's been busy as all hell. And he just got back from his honeymoon. No question. He said, I'll be there. And he's booked for May 3rd. He's going to be in the house.
Wow.
Jim Molyneux. Jim Molyneux is one of our original referees. In fact, I think there was one referee that he actually got caught in the Stetson hot body match. But Jim Molyneux is still working. He's still around. And, again, he was the ECW original, okay? But he was an original with TWA before he was ever an ECW original. Okay. Glenn Osborne. And I know Glenn has been on your show, Carmela.
I love him.
Liz in Westchester. Glenn Osborne, it's just a short ride for him. But here's the problem that I've got. I've got Glenn Osborne and Jimmy Giannetti in the same building. And these guys feuded everywhere.
Talk about heat, right?
Half the battle is keeping these guys situated in such a way. But we're going to do what we have to do. Next one is Bay Ragney. Now, Bay's name has been bandied about all over the place. Bay, true story, never wrestled for the TWA. But he spent 2 years at Ringmasters Wrestling School where he couldn't get it down. He couldn't learn how to
I know because I trained them. It was so frustrating, but I love Bay.
Okay. He's a great guy. And I'll tell you, I even had one time at the wrestling school where I brought Paul Orndorff and Buddy Landell in to help him learn how to train. And Paul Orndorff gave him the best line I ever heard. He said to Bay, you're too fat.
Oh, my God.
Bay has slimmed down. Bay is coming in from Nashville. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee. Sandman is going to be in the house.
Wow.
Sandman, think about it. Sandman started at Ringmasters Wrestling School. My contention is now we had him as a beach bum. Okay, Larry Winters basically created him as the beach guy. Obviously, when he went to ECW, they created him into Sandman as we know him today. And think about this one, the gimmick that Sandman has. That's Stone Cold's gimmick. Stone Cold stole Sandman's gimmick. Sandman started with Ringmasters. If he never came to Ringmasters, you may never have had a Stone Cold Steve Austin. You never, whatever.
That was the point. That was the point I was trying to make before you came on. If you listened, if you heard it, this people don't understand. It all started with this group. Period.
There's no question. But Sandman will be in the house. The next guy you've heard of, Tony Stetson.
Woo!
When you say I'm in the house, what do you actually mean? I'll be in the house.
You're going to be there all day, May 3rd.
But what can I do when I'm in the house?
Well, you can beat Joe up.
No.
Listen, Joel, it's 7 months away, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can get in shape, You're
Wow.
reading between the lines?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Joel. Are
Oh
you
my
reading
God.
what I'm reading?
We're going to have issues. Okay. All I can tell you is you got to be there on May 3rd. We're going to have it. He's going to be in the building with Hot Body. He's going to be in the building with Bruno. I mean, this can't be good.
Tony, I'm buying a ticket for that.
Listen, not to cut. I'm cutting you off pretty good tonight. I'm
Good,
impressed.
good.
I started at 26. I can finish at 66.
See,
I
now,
agree with him. I agree. I have all the faith in the world in that man.
so wait. So what I'm hearing from him is he wants to have his last match.
He wants to have a one and done.
It might not be one and done, but I want to be part. I can't just be a spectator. I just can't be there.
Well, this is what's curious. And for all these guys, they've all said the same thing to me. Now, aside from Johnny Hotbody having open heart surgery,
Right.
DC Drake had triple bypass.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my issues. Glenn Osborne's walking with a cane. Even with all this happening, if I get these guys in the ring, okay, things can happen. So think about this one. Stetson, his name hopefully is going to be on a banner. At some point, we'll talk about that. And he's now telling me he's ready to have started 26 and ended in 66.
You got it, man. Do it, Tony. Do it.
I will tell you this for the show. The people who handle the insurance the questions that I've gotten have been ridiculous. Okay, wait. Let me keep going. Tony, we'll get back to that. Jay Soley is going to be in the house. All right. If you know Jay,
I remember Jay.
Jay was a Square Circle fan club member. He never did anything for TWA. He was hanging around doing some stuff for us. He really went on to claim the fame when he went to ECW and did their television. Okay. And if you recall, who was his TV partner? Anybody remember?
Stevie Wonderful.
Stevie Wonderful, Steve Truitt. Now, Steve Truitt was my sound guy. He did a lot of my merchandise. I love Steve. Steve owns a restaurant in Manayunk. We hooked up a month or two ago after 30 years, and it's like I skipped a beat. I didn't skip a beat. Okay. Anyway, Steve and Jay Soley are going to be in the house for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're going to be streaming live our show all over the world.
Wow. Very cool.
More details about that to follow. But they're going to be there for people. I'm sorry?
I'm excited.
Okay. All right. Now, wait, we're not done yet. Okay.
Go.
Then the next one, the late Larry Winters, his son Colin, is going to be in attendance. Okay.
Oh, Colin.
And right now, our hope is that we get more family members. A lot of them have signed the petition for the banner. I spoke to Colin. Colin has promised at least he will be in the house for that night. Chris Wilde is going to be in the house. Chris wrestled for the second part of the TWA. And if you remember this, Breaker Morant and Chris Wilde killed each other.
Yeah.
And I used to say that they were the new Larry Winters, DC Drake. They were the new Tony Stetson, Johnny Hotbody. I got to put these two people in the building. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but they've all committed to being there. And then the last one on the list, Joe Zanoli. Joe Zanoli started with us as a referee. He was a ringside photographer, then became a referee, then obviously went on to be ECWA and doing all that kind of stuff. That's the list of TWA talent that have already said yes. Now, there are some TWA talents that I can't reach. We've been trying to track them down. We've been leaving voicemail messages. Those are committed people. Maybe committed's in two different words, but they're committed. They should be committed. The TWA is going to be in the house on May 3rd. Now, aside from all of that, okay, we're going to be doing a couple of different things. One is we hope that we get the 1,000 signatures for the banner. And as promised by the 2300 building, If we get the 1,000 signatures, we're going to do the banner ceremony that night. And picture this scenario. Tony Stetson, Johnny Hotbody, DC Drake, Colin Winters representing Larry, and myself will be there to see our names dropped at that event. Okay, so we're hoping to get that all done. We're close to 600 signatures. We need to get 1,000. We've got months to do it. We're working on it. If every person who signed it gets their spouse to sign it, we got our 1,200.
And if you don't have a spouse, you have children or friends,
go find
get them
somebody.
to sign it.
Go find somebody. Get something done. So we're going to have a banner ceremony. We are going to have more solemn. We're going to have a 10-bell salute to all the wrestlers that wrestled for the TWA that are no longer. Now, I'm going to read this list. This is the current list. I hope it doesn't grow between now and then. But here's what's scary. And I put this in alphabetical order again to keep it simple. We're going to have all of these names read from the ring by Bob Ortiz. We're going to do one 10-bell salute for all of them. If we did a 10-bell salute for each one, we would be there all night. Now, listen to this who's who of people that wrestled or worked for me at some point in some capacity who have passed away. Again, in alphabetical order. Gentleman Chris Adams, Animal from the Road Warriors, Bam Bam Bigelow, Bruiser Brody, Bulldog Brower, Chris Candido, Dominic DiNucci, Anthony Durante, one of the Pitbulls, Bobby Eaton, Terry Funk, Eddie Gilbert, Terry Gordy, Superstar Billy Graham, Gary Hart, Owen Hart, Hawk of the Road Warriors, the Mighty Igor, Kamala the Ugandan Giant, Ivan Koloff, Buddy Landell, Wahoo McDaniel, the Original Sheik, Ted Petty, Buddy Rogers, Tommy Rogers from the Fantastics, Bruno Sammartino, Iron Mike Sharp, Adrian Street, Kevin Sullivan, Luna Vachon, Virgil, Curry Von Erich, Larry Winters, Dr. Death Steve Williams, and Woman. Think of that list. That is a who's who in the past. You want to talk about old-time school? These names are unbelievable. Okay, and a lot of these videos are on YouTube. You can see the matches, but we're going to have a 10-bell salute. Now, the 2,300 arena holds 897 seats. So we're going to have roughly, with the wrestlers, 1,000 people there. We're going to have 1,000 crazy wrestling people remain silent during this 10-bell salute. Again, I don't have a clue how we're going to do that. Now, while we're doing all this, we're also going to be filming this for a documentary. Okay, Ryan Kavanaugh from ECWA does this stuff. He just did a documentary on ECWA. He's now going to do one on the TWA. So we've got all this stuff going on. One more thing. If everything goes right, and it looks like it is, my book is finally coming out. Okay? I've been spending a lot of time with Scott Teal. For those of you who follow wrestling, Scott Teal works for Crowbar Press. Scott Teal writes book after book after book in the wrestling business. And he's been interviewing me for 5 years. And now this book is finally going to be coming out. And if everything comes right, we're going to have it come out May 3rd. It's going to be available at the 2300 Arena for our show during the WrestleCon. Scott Teal is coming up from Tennessee. I will be there, of course. And so if people want autographs from the book, we'll be able to do it. But the book is going to be released on that day. So between the matches, which we haven't announced yet, and we're not going to announce any. And now that Tony's thrown the bone to me, I now going to have to go change the card again. We're going to have matches, and I will say this. Although Tony might have just thrown, oh my God, you had pliers the last time. I'll think about that one. Okay, my hope was to have all these guys and ladies come to the show and be respectful of each other. But, you know, when I have a Hot Body and Bruno the Stetson in the building at the same time, I got a Breaker and Chris Wilder in the building at the same time, I got a Jimmy Janetti and a Glenn Osborne. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know one thing. I'm going to beg them in the back to be respectful of each other. And then they're going to go out there, and I have no clue what they're going to do. But I do know this. The matches that we're going to have, and I'm not disclosing any of them right now, okay? The matches that we're going to have some first-timers. We're going to have some last-timers. Oh, my God, Tony. We're going to have
some old people.
Say again? Nope.
Some old people?
Oh, yeah. But we're going to have matches that people are going to want to see, okay? I'm going to tell you that we're going to have some major names, and anybody that's ever been to a TWA show knows I combine the major names with the local talent. I try to do it. The WrestleCon is going to be unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
The names that I have coming in, again, we're not announcing them yet. Some of them don't do a lot of these WrestleCons. Some of them do, okay? But if you want, you're going to have 3.5 hours at WrestleCon to see and interview, et cetera. Now, one of the things that we're going to do at our WrestleCon is all the tables for the WrestleCon are going to be around the ring. And if you want your picture taken with a particular wrestler, you can do it in the ring. You don't have to stand in the hall and do it, and we can have some fun with that as well.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, so it's Saturday, May 3rd. Now, just so you'll know, tickets go on sale on Saturday, October 5th at 10 a.m.
That's next Saturday.
That's next Saturday. Now, you go to 2300arena.com, and the tickets will be able to be purchased online. Now, if you do want to go to the box office to purchase tickets, the box office is open Tuesday through Friday, and it's open from 10 to 3. So they're not open on Saturday and Sunday, but Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 3, you can go to the box office. Tickets will be available for WrestleCon. Tickets will be available for the show. You can get both tickets, one or the other. What's amazing and what we're doing is for anybody who signed the petition for the banner, they will be able to go online on December 3rd, 2 days before anybody else, so that they get
October 3rd.
They get, I'm sorry?
October 3rd? You said December.
October, I'm sorry.
December.
Lost your picture.
Yeah,
October 3rd.
Yeah, I know. Something's wrong.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
All right, that's okay.
October 3rd at 10 a.m. They'll be able to go online and get their pick of tickets. Now, I will tell you the ticket prices, and this is something we need to do at that building because of the size and the talent that we're having coming in, et cetera. The front row seats, there's 80 front row seats. Those tickets, the premier tickets, VIP, if you will be $100 each. The second row will be $75 each. And then the rest of the building will be reserved seats, will be $35, and there'll be general admission tickets for $25. Okay, now we obviously expect the show to be sold out. We're going to have it's going to be crazy. You got to come to the WrestleCon. It's going to be amazing. I know the names that are going to be there. I'm not disclosing them yet. I made Carmela one promise. Oh, go ahead, Carm.
What time is the WrestleCon start?
12 to 3. 12 to 3:30. It starts at noon. Okay. The one promise I made to Carmela months ago is that the announcement of the show would be made on her show. And then any announcements that we make regarding our WrestleCon people, our matches will all be disclosed on Carmela's show first. Now, I got to tell you, I've already taped 3 podcasts. They will now come on. I'm doing Bay Ragney's podcast tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Carmela got the announcement first. So if you want to keep track of this TWA, if you keep track of Carmela's podcast, you'll know the first of everything. It's a promise I made to Carmela. If If you know anything about Carmela, if you break a promise, you die, and I don't want to die. So here's
That's
what we're
right.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. Between the filming of the documentary, the book hopefully being released, the banner hopefully being dropped, the 10-bell salute for all those that passed after wrestling for us, the matches, we're going to have 7 or 8 matches that night. There'll be some title matches, and we'll get into that at that point. And the 10-bell salute, we're going to have one hell of a day. So that's Saturday, May 3rd. And if you're a wrestling fan, you can stay home and watch TV. If you're a wrestling fan, you're coming. And if you want it, you're coming. You got to honor Tony Stetson. You got to honor Johnny Hotbody. You got to honor DC Drake. You got to honor the late Larry Winters. TWA.
And you got to honor Joel Goodhart.
TWA one and done. Anyway, that's it, Carm. That's my huge.
Okay, wait a minute. Now you're in trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
You said if you make a promise to Carmela and you break it, you're dead. What did you do wrong? What did you forget?
I forgot I'm dead. I don't know.
Jeannie, are you listening?
Yes.
Okay. You know what you forgot to say?
Of course not.
Okay, 2 things. Number 1, Jeannie and I will be there.
Well, you said that already.
And number 2, we are going to do the podcast live. There.
Yes, that's another one. Now, I will tell you now, Carmela and Jeannie will do a podcast live. You will not be the only podcast being live there. But yes, you'll be live. I'm telling you now, all the TWA guys will be at the WrestleCon. Okay, not to mention the show. They'll obviously be at the show. How many times will you have an opportunity of getting your photo taken with Tony Stetson? Have a photo taken with Johnny Hotbody? Have a photo taken with DC Drake? I mean, seriously, the Blue Mini's going to be there. Blue Mini's everywhere, okay? But Jimmy Jenny's coming up from Florida. Glenn Osborne's going to be in the house. I mean, I can go there. Bob Ortiz is going to be there. This is phenomenal. And I will say that there will be, I haven't announced it yet, there will be a special guest that's going to kick off the show. I just got to leave it at that, okay?
Okay, you can apologize to me now.
Okay, I apologize. Okay. But see, here's the kicker. We know that you're going to be in the house. We know Jeannie's going to be in the house. We know Tony Stetson is going to be in the house, and I know I'm going to be in the house. I have a commitment from 20 other people. We have no commitments from anybody yet other than that. We want the wrestling public. If you came to a TWA show, and keep in mind, we ran from 89 to 91, okay? If you came to a show 33 years ago, you need to be here, okay?
Exactly.
If you like wrestling, man, and again, some of the matches that I know you have coming in, if you're a wrestling fan and you like the business, you will want to be in the house.
Absolutely. Jeannie and I know the matches, but I'm going to say one thing. Again, we have said numerous times that if it wasn't for the onset of Rasslin Radio, the onset of TWA, the onset of everything that was done, none of this stuff in the WWE, AWA, ECW, or AEW rather, ECW, none of it. The Attitude Era, the with the John Cena thing, and the guts and the blood, and the Stone Cold Steve Austin, none of that would exist. Okay, and I don't care who knows it or who agrees or doesn't agree. It's a fact because the people who are talking now weren't there. They don't know. Okay,
well, I'll go one better. I think I'll take you one step back. You didn't mention the squared circle.
I did earlier.
This all started with the squared circle.
Squared circle. Yep, you're right.
Squared circle, the store, everything else evolved. Everything evolved.
You're right. Right. Squared circle absolutely was first. Okay, and squared circle still exists today. But those of you who were involved with us years ago and were involved with Joel and went to his shows and everything, you owe that to yourself, not to anybody else, to yourself, to come and see what real wrestling is supposed to be about. Not these rehearsals and oh, you know, I can only slap you this time tonight and I can only pull your hair a little bit tomorrow. It's not like that. This is the real deal and this is important. So understand one thing. This podcast is no kayfabe. This podcast doesn't pull any crap, okay? And that's what you need to understand. So if you're a fan of any of us, you better show up on the 3rd of May.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, how am I going to control Tony Stetson? What am I, I came on here and I'm already worried.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I don't know.
Tony, I love you. I do. You are amazing.
And if you need me to bring any more
I'll give you a heads up. Yeah,
just let me know.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to bring a bucket and a mop anyway so that we can clean up the blood or, all that stuff. It's going to be all over the place.
I got to say this. When Mike Bruno made the attempt to bring back TWA, this is how that went down. It was 2009. He calls me up. I had just turned 50. We're doing a TWA reunion. I said, Mike, I can barely walk. And I wasn't lying. Oh, but you were a big part of it. I said, okay, I'll do it. And I was only going back for one. Then I wound up wrestling 3 more years. And through TWA, me and Glenn Osborne, we've tagged with each other for years, and I'm embarrassed to say what we did when we had to wrestle young guys on these small shows. We totally abused them. But anyway, in the new TWA, the toned down TWA, me and Glenn were going at it we did street fights, we did cage match, chain match, and why it wasn't the real TWA, you better not bleed. You better not bleed. TWA is bleeding. The Last Blood Battle Royal, 15 guys in it, and all 15 of us bled because even though Sandman won, because Peaches had to squirt ketchup in my face, and John Finnegan, I guess he was the referee, thought it was blood. So TWA, we don't powder puff. There's no little inky dinky stuff going on. We did what we did. And we didn't create hardcore wrestling. What we did, because there was long before us, there was Brody and Abdullah. Brody and Abdullah, honey. See, I'm getting wound up now.
That's
Brody
right.
and Abdullah and the Sheik, Brody and the Sheik. And down south, it always existed. But up in here, the East Coast, everything was generic.
Yep.
You work for a promoter, you're not allowed to go outside the ring, and you're not allowed to do this, and you're not allowed to do this. When Joel stepped in and says, guys, you can do whatever you want. And that's what we did. And that's how everything just exploded. Period. That's
and I'm telling you, it's going to explode on May 3rd.
Yes.
Well,
it's going to be a hell of a show.
It's going to be.
Actually, it seems like, I put it out there about I can get in shape, and I know I put you in an odd situation here, Joel, but I actually have in mind who I'd want to get in a ring with me that night.
Oh boy. Who?
I know it can't be Johnny. I know it can't be DC. Glenn's got issues. I got someone in mind.
I just figured out what the answer is. What am I going to do, Carm?
What's the answer? I don't know.
What am I going to do?
What did you do back in the day?
Whisper it to me.
You let us be.
I have all these people coming in, and I said to them for 3 years, do what you want to do. What am I going to do?
That's the TWA.
That's what you're going to do, Joel. You're going to sit
you're
back.
Bringing back the original TWA.
And you're going to say, do what you want to do.
Joel, what was our slogan? We wrestle, we brawl, we do it all.
We do it all.
That's the name of my book, by the way.
I know.
Ain't that something?
Oh my God. Anyway, Carm,
yes.
May 3rd, you may have to be there to separate people.
Oh, I'll do it. It's all right. I'll be there.
Me and Carm will be security.
That's right. We'll be there. We'll beat them up. And you know what I'll do? I'll tell you what we'll do. Anybody who doesn't listen gets no more dinners.
Oh.
That'll do it.
Jeannie, I need help, Jeannie.
Whatever I can do, Joel.
All right. We're counting down the days to Saturday, May 3rd.
Yes.
Please, October 5th, go online to get tickets. If you signed, you're going to be getting a blast email that will tell you that if you signed the petition, you can purchase tickets online Thursday, October 3rd, Saturday, October 5th, open to the general public. And we're going to rock this building. The 2300 Arena thinks it's seen a lot of shows, and it has, but wait till we invade that building. The talent that we have.
And we're going to rock Philadelphia, too.
Oh, yeah.
Philly is the place to be.
Philly, when I used to be on WIP, I used to say wrestling is Philadelphia. Okay? We're proving it again. We're proving it again. We're getting back here. And now I just got to figure out what we're doing with Stetson, because this is not
well,
good.
Now you got me wound up. So after I'm done this, I'm going right to the gym, I'm going to start.
There you go.
Jesus.
I'm going too. I'll meet you there, Tony. I'll meet you there.
Joel made one bad decision back in the day when he had the Rasslin Radio. He had me and Johnny in the studio at the same time. Do you remember what happened, right?
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Furniture was broke. Things were flipped over, and we were escorted out.
Wow.
One time I actually had a show at the FOP at the
Roundhouse.
The Roundhouse. And
how the hell did you get a show at the Roundhouse?
Yeah, and Johnny Hotbody got arrested and thrown in jail.
For those of you who don't know what the Roundhouse is, just in case other countries and other cities are listening, the Roundhouse is the Philadelphia jail. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Okay.
It is the headquarters of the Philadelphia Police Department. It has a jail downstairs, and this feud they arrested and handcuffed Hotbody and sent him in and fingerprinted him. They have it on videotape. They fingerprinted him and threw him in a jail cell. Oh my God.
And it's all your fault. Hey, we're going to do it. It's going to be there. It's going to happen.
This is going to happen on Saturday, May 3rd from 12 to 3:30 is the WrestleCon. The matches are going to start at 7:30. The doors open at 6 o'clock. It's going to be an all-day affair. Come down to the 2300 Arena and see TWA one and done.
And I'm going to tell you something else. Anybody who wants to see non-fake wrestling, be there. Because let me tell you, what you will see that night is real, old school, the way it's supposed to be wrestling. Wrestling, yes, for sure.
You got it.
I'm excited as hell.
And we're going to
love Jeannie forever. She's going.
Sorry.
Love you, Jeannie.
Anyway, Tony, I'm telling you, please, right now, until you got 7 months or whatever, just we'll figure this out. I know. Oh my God, Carmela, I need help.
You got it. I'm going to call. I'm going to call in some of my Philly friends.
Person.
No, we're going to call in some of my Philly friends. There she is, and we're going to come in and bring the big guys in, and we're going to help you.
All right, sounds good.
Yes. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I could hear everything. You just couldn't see me.
I want you to yell at Joel because he forgot to mention that we were doing a podcast that day live. So go ahead.
I heard all it.
You didn't yell at him. You didn't yell at him. Yell at him.
Shame on you, Joel.
That's right. Not supposed to do that.
All right. So anyway, that was your huge announcement for episode 28.
Yes.
Man, we hit it, man. This is going to hit the roof when it gets out there.
Oh, my God. And this is going to drop tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
No, at 2. Tomorrow at 2.
People
who are listening today, Friday. We're doing this on Friday, and we're going to announce it. We're going to drop it actually tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then after that, we'll do our regular times. We're going to come up with a lot more podcasts. We may wind up doing a couple podcasts a week now with all this. Yeah. And Joel, we're going to probably have you on maybe every other week doing this all over again, because everybody needs to keep hearing it. Because unless I have it all written down on my forehead, I'm not going to remember.
And we got to get a lot of the people that the old school TWA guys on the show, and
yeah. Well, right now we're booked till the end of December, so we're good.
And
we're good. We're going to have a lot of people on.
There's a lot of fans that have been around since the TWA. They came to and they're still around. They have to be there.
Yes.
They've got, trust me, there's surprises galore. They have to be there. And we haven't even announced the match yet. Okay.
And guess what? And guess what else? It will not cost you $200 a picture. How about that?
There you go.
See?
I can promise you that.
How about that? So there you go. You're going to see real wrestling.
Yes.
It's not going to be fake. No kayfabe. You're not going to have to spend your life savings to get a picture or an autograph. And you're going to get to see really good show. And you're going to get to see all of us. How much better could it be?
There you go. Saturday, May 3rd. See you all there.
See you all there. Okay, Tony, I love you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Tony.
I want you to come back.
I got to say one more thing.
Go ahead. Take your time.
This isn't the butter up Joel. I have such respect and admiration for that guy, for his health condition, and he has such a zest for life.
Yes, he does.
Like, I admire him like you cannot believe.
Yes,
it amazes
absolutely.
me. Knowing him, it brings life. If you know him, it's got to bring life back into you.
You know what? I'm going to say something. Excuse me, Joel. What did I say to you? More than one time. What did I say to you that I felt after talking to you more than once?
You feel better. I don't remember what you tell me. I don't listen to you.
I hate you. All right, forget the fact that I hate him, okay? But I'm just telling you right now, seriously, you're right, Tony. Mm-hmm. He's been through hell and back again. Yes. I have my own health issues, believe me, and you do too. But there's so many times that my health issues make me feel down because I'm still working and I'm still doing this and I'm still trying and I can't do what I used to do. But I talk to him, and every time you talk to him, I'm fine, I'm doing good, and you know what? It makes me feel like I want to try. It makes me feel, and I'm serious about that. I'm not just bullshitting, and that's in plain English, okay? I'm serious about that. We joke around like you would not believe. We say that we hate each other and all this other stuff, but I am so in awe of how much he has pulled through and how much he struggles and keeps on going. And you're the bomb, man. There's no, and I can't. And every time I'm around you, I want to get up and I want to run. I want to do something. I want to dance. I want to go to the gym and meet Tony there. That's what I want to do. God bless you, Joel.
And you need to know, Carmela, I still think you're an ass.
I think you are too, but that's all right. You know what Tony said to me the other day? He said there's a thin line between love and hate. And we have crossed that line. We are in pure hate. We talk about hate, right?
You got it.
On the other hand, I love Jeannie, so that doesn't change.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, what I'm going to do right now is Tony and Joel, I'm going to take you off the show. Jeannie and I are going to close it, and then we'll be in touch. Okay,
so thank you both.
Thanks for having us on.
Guys soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Love you.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Okay, bye. Wow. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, I can't.
Did we lie?
No, we didn't. We never lied. Never
lied.
It
was a build-up, and people might be like, oh, well, what the hell? Okay. Hello. This is an amazing announcement, and May 3rd cannot get here fast enough.
No, and you know what, Jeannie? If these are real wrestling fans, okay, real wrestling fans, real people who want to see the real deal, they will be there. And not the people who want to see just pansy, young people jumping up and down on a rope or jumping up and down and doing some acrobats and start doing the twist in the ring. That's not what this is going to be. This is going to be the real deal. And we are going to have some incredible names, not only the people that Joel announced for the show. The WrestleCon is going to have some incredible names. And that's something else you're going to have to listen to, because as Joel comes on the show, he's going to announce different things as we go along. So please.
Yeah, different matches. And the few that I know is like, that's all I had to say. It was like, I'm there, front row. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, we're going to do the podcast from there. I'm excited as hell. I'm ready to do the podcast all day, and I'm ready to just stop to go to the bathroom and come back. Okay?
Exactly.
So we're going to have to take separate bathroom breaks, Jeannie. And then one of us will take the show, and the other one will go to the bathroom.
There you go. There you go.
But anyway, we're going to be back again. We're going to do next week. We have Baby Doll, God willing.
Yes.
We also are going to have Justin Race. I believe it's the following week. We're going to do the podcast on the Mr. McMahon, because I got a lot that I got to say about that.
Oh, me too.
Oh yeah, and then we're going to go from now until May 3rd. Man, we are hitting it. We're booked almost every single week for that. And don't forget, we're still having the fans come on. And Richard Williams, Rick Money, told me, and I actually heard from James from West Philly, and now we got emails here from Lynn Brown. Yeah, he contacted me on my on our email, and he said that we'll be hearing from him real soon. And waiting to hear from Lynn, because the three of them one's going to be great. Okay. Yeah. Also, when we do the Vince McMahon thing, that we might, I'm not going to promise, we might have a little surprise of somebody somebody who was in there down and dirty. Okay. Yeah. And I think it's going to be good. So you guys got to listen to the show every week. Okay. Yes. All right, Jeannie, I love you.
I love you more.
Okay, I love you most. All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a great night. Okay.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.